Dr. Potts.
Hello, Miss Julian Bolden.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I am Shirley with Holistic Transformations, also known as Jolly with Jolly's Healing Touch. I am so excited today. I have my very dear friend and our fourth sister, Dr. Ebony Potts, who I am so proud of. Hi.
Hello. Potts Julian. Julian is in there somewhere.
It's in there. It's in there. But you know what? I am so excited about your channel. It has been getting so many views. I'm like, oh my God, these videos are so inspirational. And I'm so glad that it's reaching out to people and people are really watching them and gaining benefit. Because every time I watch one of your videos, it really helps like push me forward. Like, yeah, I'm not the only one, you know? So thank you for doing those. I know it's not easy. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you for watching. And, to anyone else that watches, the whole point in doing the videos was to inspire others. But, one of my more recent interviews that I've had, they pointed out something that I've also experienced is I've been, it's inspirational to me, because we all have those moments when, and it depends on your spirituality and whatever you believe in. But, I was born and brought up in the Christian faith. So, you have those moments where the enemy will try to make you feel, you're alone, no one's experienced what you're experiencing and there's no way out. We've all had those moments, and hearing someone going through what you've gone through, hearing someone else go through something similar, someone that's on your same path, on a path maybe you want to get on, is inspirational. And I want to just put something good out there, especially nowadays during Rona times, just wanting to lift people up, lift myself up and help others at the same time.
Well, I'm really grateful for those videos. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, I have been an educator for more years than I want to say, but, almost approximately 20 years. I've been an educator. I've been a teacher. I've been an assistant principal. I've been a principal. So I've been an educator, working with students, working with teachers, working with young adults, the majority of my life. And in doing so, definitely has been motivational, and motivating the students, motivating teachers, motivating parents, kind of comes naturally. You don't kind of think of it as a skill set because it's something you kind of gradually learn. But, again, doing that for quite some time and realizing that, I've been imparting nuggets in students, learning things on my own, and just, gathering that information to help motivate others to get on their own dreams, get on to the path to their dreams.
That's beautiful. That's so inspiring. That will live with the student for the rest of their lives. So that is really beautiful. You're changing the world just by what you do. So thank you for that. And tell us a little bit about some of your projects that you're doing now.
Well, okay. So I mentioned I do have a channel. It's called Dream Building 101. And the channel was born out of my book is called Next Exit Your Destiny, Taking the Road Towards the Life of Your Dreams. And the book was written, not that long ago. It came out in November. And my channel was born out of the book. And it was just, how can I get the information out to people about my book? And then also about how do I help educate? Because again, I'm an educator at heart. So I know that everyone doesn't learn the same way. And, for some people, having something in text is great. Having a picture of something is great. But again, from my background, I know that having concrete examples of individuals to back up the information that is in the book, to help people to see past corners, to see out of dark places, and to, just be motivational and help them to get on their path to their dreams, which is what the book is about, is where the channel was born. So those are my major projects at this time.
Well, the channel is a great addition because honestly, when I watch and I see people who look like me doing great things, it just helps me. I can do this too. They can do it. I can do it too. And it's really great for people to see that. So talk to us a little bit about how creative writing has been part of your self-care.
Well, I started writing when I was a teenager. I had some really difficult things that happened to me while I was a teenager. My mom got really ill. And at that particular time, my parents, my dad and my stepmom, who I was staying with, when my mom became ill, I wasn't, ushered off to counseling at that time, which I think could have helped me quite a bit. But, I needed an outlet, and I started to write down my thoughts and what I was feeling. And, I started writing poetry and just writing things down just to get out of my head. And I did that as a young child, became very busy, went to college and did some other things, and I kind of fell away from it. And, I remember when I first started getting the urge to write a book. I mean, it was really a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. And I remember saying, I'm like, I'm not a writer, forgetting about the fact that I had, been writing as a child. But, I'm not a writer. I'm an educator. I'm an assistant principal. I'm, a teacher. That's what I do. I'm not a writer, not an author. But it definitely helps. It's therapeutic to get those thoughts out of your head. It's therapeutic to go back and reread what you were thinking at the time, reanalyze, to evaluate, self-evaluation, and just to improve. So definitely has been more a part of my self-care than I even realized. And then writing the book also was another extension of myself, because I've always been in a profession of helping others to see the beauty in themselves, helping others to see their potential. And the book is an extension of that.
And so would you be comfortable in saying that writing has been healing for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. It's definitely healing, because again, sometimes you have emotions that, and a lot of times people have emotions that, you don't necessarily know how to express in a positive way. You may not know how to express them in the best way forward. And writing those things down is very important. And getting it out, formulating your thoughts, walking yourself through your thoughts. And then again, on top of that, positive affirmations, because we're not necessarily feeling our best. You may not feel the most beautiful or the best representation of yourself. But, taking a sticky and putting, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That I'm beautifully made, I am enough, which are messages that we don't often get at the same magnitude or the same level or the same amount of those positive messages that we sometimes are told some things that are negative, especially by our media, because our media always wants you to buy. I can't get you to buy this or buy this outfit or buy this diet pill or buy this makeup or buy this hair product if you're fine the way you are, because why would you buy this? So I have to, make you not feel as great about your hair, or make you feel overweight, or make you feel as though you need this thing in your life. And, again, those positive affirmations, writing things down, helping you to get outside of your head has definitely been therapeutic for me. I recommend it for anyone else. And especially, nowadays when you can't necessarily get to some of the outlets that people normally can access, and not in ways that are recognizable to any of us, because, the pandemic has changed our world in so many overt and subtle ways. So definitely healing for me, and I recommend it.
Well, I remember a teacher telling me that what the hand writes, the brain or the mind remembers. What the hand write, the brain remembers. And that is really helpful for me in writing down my affirmations. So thank you for saying that. Definitely a healing tool. So talk to me about how you've dealt with adversity.
Well, one of the biggest things that I've told myself, it was one of the first Bible verses that I learned. My grandmother taught it to me when I was 8 years old, was, again, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And don't get me wrong, there are times that I do not feel as though I can do all things through any and anyone. Okay. So let's just get that straight. But saying it over and over to yourself, looking and believing that has helped me quite a bit. I remember when I first went to undergrad, When I was in elementary school and middle school, I thought I was pretty smart. I was kind of a nerdy kid. And, I thought that, again, having exposure of a middle schooler, having the exposure of a high school kid of only a certain amount of people and certain amount of situations, I thought I was pretty swift. And then I went to college with a bunch of other people that were very smart. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, So that was kind of my first segue into the real world and facing some challenges, as far as, there was a time where I thought I was going to graduate, and I was pulled into the dean's office and was told that, yeah, I'm filling out paperwork, getting everything situated, counting my credits. And I went to the dean's office and he was like, so what do you think you're doing? And I'm like, excuse me, I'm supposed to graduate, filling out the paperwork. Here you go. Just need your signature. And he was like, yeah, so you have a good GPA overall, but your GPA in your science classes, is not up to par. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I wasn't like a D student. I had a couple classes, organic chemistry, some others who were the bane of my existence. However, most of my classes I did pretty well. And he was like, well, you have to have, I think it was like a 3.2 or something like that in just your science classes alone in order to graduate. I was devastated, okay? Devastated, because I had filled my paperwork, paid my fee. I'm like, okay, it's about to be on and popping. Here I am. It was like March. I was going to be graduating in May, or it was like February, something, only a few months. So, I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I was like literally just devastated. And I had to just go inside myself and say, okay, I remember certain people I went to high school with, and other people, again, not to say anything negative about other people or anything of that nature, but there are people that I know that I come in contact with that had graduated. People that in my brain when I was in high school were knuckleheads, were just, not people that I necessarily saw as walking across the stage to get a degree. And I had to tell myself, and I've done this repeatedly as an adult, if this person can do it, I can have it. And that's the way that I see it. I clap for other individuals. I applaud them because, not only do I applaud their accomplishments and what it is that they've done and take a moment to honor that person, but that also lets me know that the pathway is there for me too.
That's right.
So that's one of the biggest ways that I've been able to get through some really difficult times. It's just to remind myself that if, someone else can do it, that it's possible for me as well.
Absolutely. So what compelled you to write your book?
Well, as I stated previously, I got kind of a tugging, you get those moments where I feel like God is speaking to you and God is sending you in a direction. And very often we'll talk ourselves out of whatever it is that you're getting, and I call them little nuggets in my talk about, breadcrumbs. God will kind of drop little breadcrumbs. If you remember, if you're familiar with the story of Hansel and Gretel, where they followed the breadcrumbs through the forest. And, I feel as though God will drop those breadcrumbs, and sometimes we see them and we ignore them. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of them, which is what I was doing. I'm an educator. I'm not a writer. Why am I being asked to write a book? That's not what I do, And I did that for, I came up with every excuse as to why I shouldn't write a book. And then what I've kind of noticed looking back on my life previously is that God seems to get the best out of me when I'm going through difficult times. And I was going through a difficult time. And yet again, just as loud as, you are when you're talking to me, I heard right, like just right, like almost like, what are you doing? Hello, I told you to write a book, to get to writing. And I just was like, I was so frustrated about some other circumstances that were happening. I was just like, it was kind of like, okay, all right, I'll write. And I started typing, and literally it just flowed. And I that's been my experience, kind of when God tells you to do something, the doors just kind of fling open. And that was my experience with writing a book. The chapters just came and information just came and it flowed. And, I'm proud of it because, again, it's motivating. It's not about me. It's about helping other people to see the beauty in their journey and to get to their own happy.
Well, I saw myself all over the book. It was such a great read. I pulled out my highlighter. I was like, well, this is important. Oh, this is important. And I have some books like that that I really feel is going to be part of my library of success, and this book is definitely a part of it. Your friend writes a book and you're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to read it. I'm going to support her. And you're like, oh my God, there's so many gems in here. This is such a great way to remind yourself. And if you don't know, to learn about how someone went through certain things. And I love what you talked about, the sitting in traffic. Can I tell you, sitting in traffic has been some of the most spiritual times.
Oh yeah.
Is this what you're going to do for the rest of your life? So I really love how funny it was, how light it was, but also how right on point it was. So I really enjoyed the book.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed the book.
I did. So tell us, how can we purchase your books?
Well, you can purchase my book in a couple of ways. I do have a website. The website is www.nextexityourdestiny.com. So you can purchase the book from there. Or you can go to everyone's favorite Amazon. My book is available on Amazon as well. You can also purchase my book at Barnes & Noble online. So those are the three major ways that you can purchase my book.
Awesome. And I'll have all of that in the description box below. Awesome. What would you tell someone who is interested in writing, or, whatever dream they wanted to pursue? What would you tell them?
The first thing I would say is get out of your head and do it. Just do it. If you are having an urge in English, especially if it keeps coming, we'll hear something one time. We might have an inkling to do something a couple of times. But if it keeps coming to you, there's a reason that getting this urge, and just do it. Get out of your head. Everything is never going to be perfect. It's not going to all align. The moon and the stars and the sun and Saturn and all of that is not going to line up perfectly. And someone's not going to come and knock on your door and go, hello, this is the moment. It's not going to happen that way. And you don't necessarily, there are individuals that I know who are big picture people, who I'm going to open a restaurant that's going to seat, 100 people or 200 people or whatever it is. And until I can do that, I'm not ready. And that's not the case. You start small. Start with, if you feel as though you're a writer and you want to be a writer, or there's skills that you need to pick up. Okay, so write a page and go give it to somebody and say, hey, look at this. What do you think? And start to build your skill set. But, whatever it is that you want to pursue, get going, start. You don't have to be all the way up here to get going.
So what if I am interested in writing and I write a book and I share it with a person and they hate it? What should I do?
Well, just like anything else, just because you start something and you share it with one individual and they don't particularly care for it, it doesn't mean that it's not worthy. It doesn't mean that it's not good. And it doesn't mean that it's great either. If you go somewhere and you give it to one person and they're just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Again, you're not going to produce anything that everyone wants. Never. Like, there are some people who don't like Michael Jordan. He's the best basketball player, in my opinion, ever. All right. There's plenty of people who would argue that that's not the case. So whatever it is that you're doing, you can't base your happiness and what you're doing solely on the shoulders of other people. Now, obviously, when you write a book, you want people to like it, you want people to purchase it, or if you're writing poetry or whatever. But again, find your tribe, find people who either are interested in what you're doing, who have some expertise in what you're doing, who you respect, who you perhaps like their writing, their style, and what you are doing aligns with what they have expertise in, and get their information. Don't go ask your auntie, Velda, who makes the best macaroni and cheese, to talk to you about proofs. Like, she might be great. She might be very educated, but that may not be her expertise. So that's what I would say to.
That is great. That is great advice. Yeah, that is great advice. So what would you talk to someone about failure and success?
They are necessary evils. They're like yin and yang. I don't know anyone who has become successful at anything who has not experienced some failure. You have to also not be scared to fail. I know a lot of people who have become successful at various things. And if you watch my channel, you see lots of people who, who on the outside look very successful, maybe even on the inside, they successful. But every single one of those videos where you look at someone talking, they have talked about failure. There's just no way around it. So unless you would like to stay at the same level, whatever that level is for you, you are going to experience failure. You have to be okay with that. And you've experienced failure, you've overcome it. You may not realize it, but you have. I talk about in my book, when you were sitting down and you looked around, there were people walking, you're like, I want to do that. And even you couldn't even express those words, but you looked around and saw people doing things that you wanted to do, and you tried and you promptly fell. But what you wanted was more important, and it was there was a greater want for that thing, and you went after it regardless of your failure. So again, it's a necessary evil. Don't be scared of it. Learn from it, because there's a lesson in it. And every time you fail, you have narrowed down a path that doesn't work. So if there's 100 ways to get to whatever it is that you want to get to, you've just eliminated one. So now you only have 99 more to try, so that's a good way to look at it. I just wanted to add something. Like, I am the queen of in my head. Like, I'm the in my head. I always make things out to be more than they actually are. When I actually experience them, I am the queen of that. So, that's why I say, you got to get out of your head. Get out of your head, experience it. Most of the time, it's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. You'll learn from it and you'll move on.
Great. Thank you. This book is really have been like, it's a easy read. It's a simple read. It's so full of nuggets. It's so full of gems. It's light. It's funny. I'm so proud of you, sis. I'm so proud of you. And I love giving this book away. So in this video, we're going to ask if you're interested in getting a free book, and one person will win, of Next Exit Your Destiny. Please comment Next Exit. We're just going to use Next Exit, and we'll use that as you're entering the giveaway. And in 2 weeks, we will announce who the winner is. So look out for that.
Awesome.
It's also a great gift. I've gifted my sister. I'm going to gift my mother-in-law. It's also really a great gift to give to someone, just to talk about, following their dreams and their destiny. So
thank you so much. And I just wanted to be inspiring. I just wanted to, in those dark moments, be able to help someone, to help propel them to their own level of success.
Well, you've been a light, sis, because this time it's brought a lot for a lot of people. And reading this book is like another light in the world. So I thank you so much for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching this video, and hope to see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye, everybody.